Is Detroit becoming the new Silicon Valley? And what does this mean for the job market and real estate market right here in Metro Detroit? There has been a massive battle brewing in the automotive industry. It's been clear that Silicon Valley is the leader when it comes to technology. There's no dispute in that. When it came to self-driving cars and electric drivetrains, everybody thought Silicon Valley had it made. They were positioned to come out with that technology and lead the charge. Well, recently, Detroit automakers and some pretty big tech giants have made some serious investments, and they're pouring a lot of money into the growing technology hub right here in Detroit. And some are saying this could be the next Silicon Valley. That could also mean some pretty interesting things when it comes to the real estate market and the job market right here in Metro Detroit. So I'm excited to share some of the latest developments with you. So stick around because we're getting after it right now. Hey, what's going on, you guys? If you're meeting here for the first time, my name is Meldrum. I make videos just like this about all things Metro Detroit. We cover what it's like to live here, work here, play here, and of course the sunshine and the snow, I know. But I'm also a licensed real estate professional. I help people just like you buy, sell, relocate, and invest here in the Metro Detroit market. We want to help you do just that. So if you're making a move here in 1 month or 1 year from now, do not hesitate to reach out, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. And if you're new to this channel, go ahead and subscribe, tap that little bell so you're first to learn about the current market and all the new videos we put out on a weekly basis. Okay, so let's take a look at what's going on. Now, why is Detroit being called the next Silicon Valley? Well, it all stems from the automotive industry. Now, there's a lot of technology being born right now as we speak, and there's going to be even newer technology that's going to come out to support this new wave of innovation and technology to bring electric vehicles to market, bring autonomous vehicles to market, to bring new roads that have charging stations in them. It's a whole new infrastructure, right? So this is just beyond just self-driving cars and electric cars. This is a whole new infrastructure for us in our economy, and it's super interesting. Now, Detroit is at the forefront of this. So companies like Tesla, who have been mass producing electric vehicles for a long time, Ford, GM, Stellantis, all these companies have dabbled in electric vehicles in some capacity. Some vehicles caught on more than others, some were hybrid, some were full EV vehicles, and it just goes to show you there isn't one way to do it. There's going to be a lot more innovation that comes, and there's been a ton of startup companies, including like Rivian right here in Plymouth, who have brought new innovative ways to do things. Now, this is becoming more and more of a topic because of energy. So energy for us as humans is looking at this and saying, well, how do we produce renewable energy, not the non-renewable energy? How do we replace the technology and bring in renewable energy? And how does this fit into our whole ecosystem? Well, it's a big, big undertaking. And we're just in the beginning phases of this right now. So I want to go through some of this, and I'm going to unpack this. And just so you guys know, like, I used to be in this space. So this is fun for me to kind of look at this landscape. And now that we do real estate, I always love going back. I manage supply chain operations for a lot of automotive companies, consumer electronics, managing logistics around the world. It's super fun. So when I get into this stuff, I tend to geek out and break things down too detailed. So as of late, the big three have been making some huge investments in Detroit, and this has been taking note on why some of the shifts are happening from Silicon Valley to Detroit. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. So if you don't know the big three, this is Ford, GM, and Stellantis. Now, it used to be Chrysler was the original big three, but Chrysler got bought by FCA, and then FCA got rolled up into Stellantis. It's a whole entire acquisition merger thing. Don't worry about it. But Ford, GM, Stellantis, those are the big three. And there's been a ton of investment here. So I want to take you through just how much investment is actually taking place. I mean, these dollar figures are massive, and the amount of jobs that are going to be coming to Michigan as a result of it is absolutely astonishing. And these numbers have blown me away. So I wanted to make a separate video about this in terms of why these jobs and what does this mean for the real estate market? What does this mean for the job market? All of these things are going to be interconnected. So it's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds. All right, so let's start with Ford. Now, back in 2018, Ford bought the Michigan Central train station, and this was an abandoned building that just sat vacant in Detroit for a very, very long time. There was a lot of vandalism. The windows were all blown out. I mean, it was an eyesore for the city, but it was a really cool building. I mean, it's an iconic building right here in Detroit. So backstory on that, Mayor Dugan actually had a real estate developer who wanted to do a project, and this whole entire building in Michigan Central train station was sitting there vacant and they were talking about demolishing it, and there's a lot of people that did not want to demolish it. So Mayor Dugan said, well, if you do this over here, then I will have you put windows in over here at the central train station, and then I'll give you whatever you want on the other side. So it was a deal he made, and the developer actually ended up doing it, which changed the whole facade of the actual building, and it made it look way better. And then everybody was like really excited, like, oh man, the development's happening, like something's happening with the train station, which took note. Okay, this is how things lead to one another. So Ford took note of this, and during this time in 2018, Ford actually bought the building. So they bought the central train station, and they had plans to roll out a 30-acre campus around it, all centered around talent, mobility, innovation, entrepreneurship, community engagement, small business opportunities. They wanted to make this campus really a lively place for this innovation center to really be a center for all the technology that's going to be going into electric vehicles and autonomous vehicles, and bring more companies that have these innovative ideas there as a kind of a breeding ground to work with Ford, to be innovative, to just kind of grow that whole entire ecosystem. And if you're in startup land or in this type of space, you know these ideas and these other little smaller companies tend to have the pioneering idea, and then they get acquired by some of the big guys. So it's a really genius idea by Ford to create such an innovation center and be the forefront of bringing a lot of that to Detroit. So far, Ford has spent over $740 million building out the campus and rehabbing the central train station to bring a lot more of their departments down there working out of the central train station. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Ford has pledged an additional $2 billion to rehabbing or creating new manufacturing facilities here in the state of Michigan, which should create around 3,200 new jobs. Stellantis has some big plans to tool up electric vehicle manufacturing facilities right here in Detroit. Now, it's already stated that it's going to spend $4.5 billion. Let me say that again, $4.5 billion on retooling their manufacturing facilities to support the electric vehicles that they plan to make here in Detroit. Now, if you didn't know, Stellantis makes the Jeep, and the Jeep manufacturing is actually done right here in Detroit. It's called the JNAP facility, downtown Detroit. That's where they've been making the Jeeps for a long time. Now, I'm pretty excited because Stellantis also announced that they're going to be making a full electric vehicle Jeep right here in Detroit. I'm excited about that. But the number that they're investing here in Detroit is $4.5 billion. Let me say that again. $4.5 billion into retooling and developing new manufacturing facilities to support all of their manufacturing here in Detroit. Now, that's a big number. So, guys, this number just keeps getting bigger. Ford was at $2 billion. They've almost spent $3 billion with the $740 million. And Stellantis is going at $4.5 billion, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. All right, so in addition to this, GM is spending a boatload of money as well. They've already announced that they have committed $7 billion to manufacturing facilities here in Detroit and all around Michigan to support the electric vehicles. They got manufacturing facilities in Holland, they got manufacturing facilities in Lansing, Detroit, and Flint. All of these facilities are going to be getting some sort of upgrades, or they're going to be building new facilities on green spaces, and it's just a ton of stuff going on. So in addition to all the jobs that are coming for, Ford, GM, Stellantis, and all these new technologies, there's a ton of manufacturing and just construction jobs that are going to be born out of this. So, when we look at the whole entire landscape, there's a ton of new jobs for this new technology, right? So a lot of more software engineers, electrical engineers, mechanical engineers are going to be in high demand for these type of roles. A lot of management positions, a lot of HR positions as the companies grow. So there's a ton more ecosystem that's just being built out. Now, when the big three start making big changes like this changes things for so many other people in the industry. Now, all the suppliers that support Ford, GM, Stellantis, they are now looking at this saying, well, what are we going to do, right? We have the technology, we have the innovation as well, we have the manpower to do it, and we got to follow suit. So the new demand is electric vehicles. So the whole entire tier of suppliers starts changing. Now, here, just to go into this some more, this is absolutely crazy, and I had to write this down because I can't remember all these numbers. In March 2022, LG Solutions announced a $1.7 billion expansion, creating over 1,200 jobs in Holland manufacturing facilities. In June of 2022, a Canadian EV charging operator, Flow, announced an investment of $3 million for the company's first ever U.S. manufacturing facility in Auburn Hills. In October of 2022, Michigan-based Our Next Energy announced a $1.6 billion investment to establish its first cell and EV battery pack gigafactory in Van Buren Township, which is around Ypsilanti, kind of the Ann Arbor area, creating up to over 2,000 jobs. In October of 2022, Goshen announced a $2.36 billion investment, these are billions, for a new manufacturing facility in Big Rapids, creating over 2,300 new jobs. Now, if I add all those up in just the suppliers alone, that was close to 6,000 new jobs with just this supplier list alone. Now, the automotive industry is absolutely massive, and there are tier 1s, tier 2s, tier 3s. The supply chain goes pretty deep when it comes to amount of suppliers that are supporting this type of manufacturing, and the products are getting more advanced. They're going to create more highly skilled jobs to create the software, the mechanicals, all the stuff that's going into it, and it's been an ever-changing landscape for that reason. So this is super interesting. You know, when we look at all these new jobs, we look at all the things that are coming to Michigan, especially Detroit, the Metro Detroit area, it's super exciting. You know, I get excited about it because, you know, previously I was working on some cool projects in the automotive space. We were working with Ford. I can talk about it now because I don't have the NDA in place anymore, but we were working with Ford to develop the Ford GT program. That was the funnest program I ever worked on. So as you can see, there's a ton of new jobs being created out of this, and the real estate market is going to be in demand. There's no doubt about that. I'll get into some specifics about what that means for the real estate market here in Metro Detroit, but the job market is growing. You know, with this job market, it's going to be creating a lot more high-paying jobs, in my opinion. You know, the type of skill set and the type of people they're looking for these roles. These are software engineers, electrical engineers, people with a lot of experience in the manufacturing facilities, because there's going to be a build out, there's going to be a demand for the manufacturing. Now, Detroit has that. That's like the bread and butter. If we're looking for manufacturing people, you look here in Metro Detroit for those type of individuals. But there's a growing demand on the software side because of so many things that are coming into the vehicles now. The whole entire vehicle is pretty much software. You know, when you look at your dashboard, you don't have any mechanicals anymore. There's a screen in the middle, and there's even a screen on the dash to tell you how fast you're going, when your oil needs to be changed, when, you know, your coolant's low. Like, all those things are software now. You know, so when the software really takes shape, this is where Silicon Valley comes in, and this is why so many people thought that Silicon Valley was going to be the leader when it came to this type of technology. But when you combine it and really look at it, I mean, I don't know if I could have predicted this, but it just makes sense. I mean, it just makes logical sense that the automotive industry is here in Metro Detroit. And there's a lot of technology and a lot of know-how, I like to call it tribal knowledge, when it comes to manufacturing. And nobody better than Detroit to kind of roll that out. Now, Ford and GM and Stellantis, very smart, partnering with a lot of these companies. Companies like Waymo, which is Google's self-driving car, they announced that they're going to be producing that in the American Axle plant right here in Detroit. You know, Ford has made investments into companies like Rivian, which is right here in Plymouth. They're an all-electric vehicle and pickup truck, you know, type vehicle. Super cool platform, and I actually worked with them early on when we were doing some consulting for the supply chain design and building out their supplier base. But, you know, there's a lot of stuff happening here is my point, and nobody better than Detroiters to make this happen. So you might be watching this asking yourself, like, what is Detroit like? What is Michigan like? And, you know, we had a ton of videos on Metro Detroit, all the cool places around here that you can check out on this channel. But if you're sitting there with a job offer in hand and you're going to be working for Ford, GM, Stellantis, or any of the suppliers that support the automotive industry here in Metro Detroit, you know, and you got some questions, feel free to reach out to us. I'd love to know if you do have a job offer in your hand right now from any of these companies. Drop it in the comments below. I'd love to do a poll and see how many people are actually relocating to Michigan for these type of jobs. You know, we pulled up some data earlier, and it was super interesting. You know, when we look at how many people are coming into Michigan, the #1 place that people were coming to Michigan from was San Francisco. As of last year alone, over 30,000 people actually moved from San Francisco to Metro Detroit. Now, it's just Michigan in general was was the stat, but majority of them are coming here into the Ann Arbor, Metro Detroit area is my guess. So if you're one of these people that's moving here from a different state because of the automotive industry and because of what's happening, what I just talked about, drop that in the comments below. I'd love to know, and take a poll on how many people are actually relocating for this. So what does this mean for the real estate market here in Metro Detroit? Well, it doesn't necessarily mean a ton right now, because a lot of the stuff is not going to happen overnight. It's not like all these billions of dollars are going to be deployed tomorrow or the next day, and these factories and these jobs are going to come out. These are going to be slow things, right? GM's going to have their plant, Ford's going to have their plant, Stellantis is going to have their plant, all in different timelines. So it's going to be kind of a trickle effect as people, start relocating here and start getting placed at a lot of these jobs. So I suspect that it's going to be a slow thing that takes place. It's not going to be a shotgun approach where we're going to have this huge gold rush of people moving into Michigan. But ultimately, it is going to lead to a lot of things that are happening right now in the housing market, which is low inventory. We have a low inventory situation right here in Michigan, and it's going to probably continue into the better half of this year. And we're going to really struggle to find affordable housing for people because the prices are going to continue to go up. Luckily, there's some reprieve on the back end, is what they're predicting in the fourth quarter of 2023. We think we might get interest rates down. I'm not an economist. I don't pretend to be one, when it comes to that type of stuff. So I watch what's going on. I'm very observant in terms of the market and what's happening, and I'd love to help guide you guys on exactly what that means. And ultimately, these things aren't going to change, but we do know is people still need to move, and we try to make the best of every situation. So knowing the market and knowing where we're at and understanding what's going to get offers accepted is what we do best, right? That's my skill set. That's my superpower if I had one. We know the market, we know the agents here, and we know how to get offers accepted. So you're in great hands when you trust us to handle your real estate needs moving to Metro Detroit. And again, we want to help you do just that. So guys, if this information was helpful, go ahead and smash that subscribe button and tap that bell so you're the first to learn about the current market. And if you're moving here in 1 month or 1 year from now, we want to help you do just that. Don't forget to give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. I've even got my Calendly link down below. You can schedule a Zoom call. That's the best way that we can connect. I can take you through Metro Detroit, show you the city through my eyes, and help match you up with the ideal lifestyle that you're looking for. So thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.